welcome to W Rated, the show where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. Today you've joined us on one of this year's Road to Razzies mini episodes. This is our annual season of episodes looking at the nomination for the controversial Golden Raspberry Awards 2025. For new listeners, I'm Daisy, and as always, I'm joined by podcast co-creator, host and editor Claire. Claire, would you like to tell us what film we're talking about this episode?
We are talking about Joker, Folie, Deux, which is, I think, one of our top nominated films this year.
Isn't it?
Yeah, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nominations. We have Worst Picture, Worst Director for Todd Phillips, Worst Actor for Joaquin Phoenix, Worst Actress for Lady Gaga, Worst Screenplay for Scott Silver and Todd Phillips, Worst Screen Combo for Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, and Worst Remake, Ripoff or Sequel.
Basically anything that it could be in.
Yeah, I saw this. I went to an advanced press screening of this. I brought my friend Emma, who had never seen this or the original. I sat next to our very good friend and previous guest on the pod, Billy Melissa. She, at one point in the movie, completely disassociated, and I saw her sitting, actively counting the pages in her notebook that she still had not written in. And there was like 100. She was just sat there counting them very slowly, and this was only halfway through the movie. She was just... She'd had it. She done.
Also hated Borderlands, which is what we've just recorded. So this is just like Billy's nightmare. Not that she would ever, but her nightmare blunt rotation of films. Sorry, Billy.
So I went to an advanced screening. I will say I was far more positive than most of the people I spoke to at the end of that screening, but it's not hard to be the most positive in the room when everyone else is saying how fucking awful it was. How was your reception to this film, Daisy?
So I only just watched this for the recording, because I happened to miss it in the cinema, and it's because Stephen, my partner, was just not interested in watching it. We loved the first one. I don't know where the hate came from, so I don't know if you can just give me a little recap, but when I watched it when it first came out, also this film feels like it should be the first one should be 2016, 2017, but it's like actually way later than that. It's like 2019. Every time I think of that film, it feels like way earlier than that. But I don't know, like I really liked it. And then all of a sudden I started realising that I was the only one that liked it. And everyone hated it.
Not. I think in our mutual friend circle, you are the only one that likes it.
Is this me being a film bro? Is that what?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. I know what I am, and I'm not afraid.
But
I'm not, you know.
My friend Emma came to see this one with me, and she literally hadn't seen the first one, so the night before she watched the first one. She really enjoyed the first one. And I had other friends that when the first one came out enjoyed it. I did not like the first one. So a lot of the hate came from the fact that it was so anarchist and it was going to incite hatred and people were going to rise up in the street, and it was so violent that people were going to... I didn't dislike that. I did dislike how miserable the first one is. I just found the first one such a miserable, unnecessarily mean film. Yeah. I think I was
nihilistic, basically.
Yeah, I was slightly on edge, expecting more to happen because of how everyone had overblown its nihilisticness. So I think I was on edge watching it, and actually didn't need to be.
Like when someone tells you to watch Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like the first one. I didn't think it was particularly good. I thought it was well made, but I came out of it, I was like, well made film, no interest in ever watching that again. Absolutely.
That's fair.
Everything opposite of what I like from my movies. I also... controversial maybe, don't think Joaquin Phoenix is half as good an actor as people say he is. And I really didn't think he was particularly good in this. I felt it was
is it the second one or the first one?
The first one. I felt like it was overly caricatured and annoying and irritating, and I do get that was probably the point, but it didn't work for me. So then I only started to hate it when it started getting so much Oscar buzz, and then he also won. Because I was like, fuck. I was like, it's not as bad as the people that hate it, but I don't think it deserves... I don't think there's anything in that film that deserves critical recognition.
Mm-hmm.
But is what it is. So I will say this second one, the whole thing when it premieres at Venice, people were saying if you liked the first one, you'll hate this. If you didn't like the first one, you might love it. I didn't like the first one. I still didn't love this. I probably liked it slightly more than the first one, but can also acknowledge it's not as good a film as the first one.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, yeah.
I will say up front, any scene with Lady Gaga in, I was there, I was hooked, I was locked in.
Sure.
Just her on the screen, I felt she lit up the screen even when she wasn't meant to be.
She's just like a talent for our generation, in everything that she does.
But then the minute she wasn't on screen, I completely lost interest and was like, are we done here yet? Are we done here yet? And then she'd come back and I'm like, oh, I'm back. So it makes me sad that she's been nominated for Worst Actress.
Yeah,
because
I think that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's undeserved. Also, to be completely fair, I think Joaquin Phoenix is an overrated actor. I do really love him in Her. But I think he's won 2 Oscars now, maybe more. I think there are better people than him as actors, but I don't think he's particularly bad. I do think it's unfair to put him in Worst Actor for this, because I do think he is giving the exact same performance as the first one. I don't like the performance, but it's the exact same. It's irritating and annoying, and I kind of want to slap him, but it is the exact same.
Yeah, except he sings in this one. Maybe that's what people got
in fairness. He had no right to be singing. Oh my god.
Especially not next to Stephanie.
That's it. Like, she'd be singing and I'd be smiling and then it would, cut to him. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it did it. But, again, I think, and whenever I say stylistic choice in this, take it with a pinch of salt, because there's, theories that, what's the guy's name? Todd Phillips. Completely just burnt this to the ground for on purpose. So I don't know how much of when I say stylistic choice is stylistic choice derogatory or stylistic choice affirmative or whatever, because it's it was a choice, but did he make it to be good or did he make it to be bad?
Yeah.
So I think for me, if I'm coming at it with good faith, the fact that he isn't a singer is the point.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing for me, what I said when I came out of that screening and everyone was saying how terrible it was, I was like, I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was between 2.5 and 3. And most of that is because I enjoyed watching Lady Gaga so much.
Yes, 100%.
I was like, it was irritatingly overlong. It was unnecessarily nasty and miserable and bleak, and there were just so many long sequences and scenes that didn't really propel the plot, didn't really add to the character. It was just like, do you want to feel bad? I'm gonna make you feel so bad.
I don't feel bad when I watch it.
So, the scenes where it's implied that the prison guards rape him.
Oh, yeah, no, that's horrible. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't stick, it doesn't, stick on me.
No, but when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, I get it. This is bleak. I get it.
You feel like it's quite ham-fisted.
Yeah.
Which is terrible phrase to use right now.
I was like, I've been in the cinema for over 2 hours. I understand his life is bleak, for the love of God. But then I also felt like it was scared to show it because it's heavily implied, and obviously I don't really want to see a prison guard rape scene, but I'm like, if you're going to go there, fucking stand up and go there.
I see.
Have the ball, again, choice of words. But do it then. Don't.
I see.
I don't know.
No, I think it's a completely fair point. I see everything you're saying is not what I don't see. We're just perceiving it differently.
Yeah. And then obviously the last 20 minutes, stuff actually happens. But at that point, I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore. Oh, wow, it's a bit exciting now. But Jesus, I'm so bored.
Are you? No, I found it quite... it engaged me. I agree I agree that I was much more interested when Lady Gaga was on the screen, but I just can't resist like courtroom stuff. Like I just find it so interesting.
But it took so long to get to the courtroom.
That's true. That's true.
And also, I don't know, do you watch Industry, the BBC show?
No, but I've been told it's very, 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 very good.
It's very trashy, but it's enjoyable.
Everyone's been telling me it's like, you know, quality.
People try and tell you it's quality. I don't know. I think it's trashy but it's enjoyable. It's trash filmed through a high class lens.
I see.
It's giving what was the show about the family? No, what was the show about the family that was really big?
Show about the family?
Where they all wanted to be in charge of the business. Succession. So it's giving the aesthetic of Succession,
but it's trash.
But it's trash. But yeah, so half the cast of Industry were in this for some reason. And then why was Steve Coogan there? I kept waiting for Steve Coogan to do something. I was so baffled by the cast half the time that also really took me out.
Film over here or something?
I think so, yeah.
That must be why.
But yeah.
So I think that this works for me. Like, my summary of like why I don't hate either of them is because I really like the first one, and I don't know, I think I maybe like a little bit of behind the cinema films. I think it's like a good portion of it is good for me because I'm too optimistic sometimes. You know what I mean? If I'm like, it balances me out.
Whereas I'm always worst case scenario. So
right, you don't want it.
I remember spending the whole of the first one waiting for him to kill his mother. Because I was like, well, he's going to kill her at some point. And I kept, and like, how it happened to the end wasn't even that bad. But like, all of the visions of how he would do it throughout the film was so much worse in my head that I set myself on edge.
And I think I think you said that you went in hearing what everyone was saying about it. I think I saw it pretty quickly at the time, so I don't remember hearing people talk about it at the time, or I just didn't care. I knew that I liked it, and then I don't care about the Oscars anyway, so that would have come round and give a shit, whatever. But then this is the thing, when you've got a film bro who likes musicals, this is who it's made. I'm like the only person in the world that this is made for.
It wasn't musical enough for me.
It was more jukebox, right?
I just needed more.
It was... So if we're talking about the music, I think it was much more subtle than I expected. The way that everyone was slagging it off. I thought that they'd gone like full Singing in the Rain, which they did make homage to, I think. But the way people were talking about it was like, you know, when people are like, oh, all of these marketing things at the moment, they've disguised it as a musical because they're ashamed, and then people get in there, they're going to be furious. That's kind of what I expected, even though people knew it was a musical going in. And actually, I think it slotted quite well into the world. I was expecting, I was like, how on earth is this going to work? But the point
the
of it being the delusion
and
the madness, and the song choices, I think, were very well picked. And I think, whilst I don't think it really, really worked, it didn't not work for me. Like I like put aside what you think Todd Phillips was up to. I think what if I'm thinking about in good faith, what he tried to shoot for, it had a cohesion behind it. It made sense. It's just the execution wasn't that.
See, I think that would be my complaint about it. I felt like it was completely incoherent. It felt like, I remember talking to a Waze about it afterwards, as he was in the same screening, and we were saying it felt like someone had ham-fisted two movies together.
But I think the problem with that is because you could go two ways with a sequel. Well, you couldn't go two ways. It's not a straight sequel. It's trying to become something else.
And I would, with good faith, imagine that was sort of the intent of to put you in Joker's, or whatever his name is, Arthur Fleck's worldview, in that he is living two parallel lives, and so you're flitting between his reality and his fiction. But it didn't come across in practice for me. I felt like whiplash going from the fantasy to the real to the fantasy to the real. I didn't feel like it was sewn together well enough for me. It felt like it was like staple gunned together aggressively.
I think the difference is you went and saw it early versus I only just watched it, in that obviously we knew it was a musical coming out, but if I'd have gone in and like saw it before I got a lot of our friends' opinions and things like that, I probably would feel the same way as you. But because I heard everyone drag it through the mud, I was like, what on earth crazy thing am I about to watch? But it worked a lot better than I was expecting. It doesn't, as I say, execution wise, I don't think it hits. I don't think it gets it. But for me, I was just like, it makes sense in the story of why this is happening. Whereas everyone was just like, why is this happening? Like, they even have like the sort of like tribute to Sonny and Cher and things like that. I liked that. Yeah.
I think for me, I think the word I used was indulgent. I felt like it was overindulgent way too long. He threw everything in the kitchen sink in there, and I was like, sir, find an editor, find a lane. I like.
Who's Elaine?
I like what you're going for, but it doesn't work. I don't think he's a good enough director to pull it off. Right. It either needed to be a prison movie, a courtroom movie, or a musical. You don't have the power to do all three. You do not have...
I like that he gave it a go. But yeah, I mean, shall we talk about Todd Phillips then? Because he's been nominated for director here, and he gets a lot of flack. So his past has pretty much been sort of raunchy comedies, specifically the Hangover movie.
I've not seen Road Trip in a bajillion years, but I remember loving Road Trip as a teenager. Old School, again, I feel like if I rewatched Old School with 2025 brain, I'd be horrified. But Old School used to always be on BBC on like a Friday night at like 11 p.m, and I'd always leave it on because Old School was great. It's
it's Will Ferrell
and one of the Luke Wilson,
and Vince Vaughn.
So Luke Wilson gets a divorce and has to buy a house and ends up buying a house on like Fraternity Row, and then they like basically become a weird frat, and it's very funny, and I am a sucker for Luke Wilson after Legally Blonde, so absolutely loved that film. But yeah, and then he did The Hangovers, he did Due Date, and then all of a sudden he does
weird
Joker. And no, I don't like Joker. And I don't like The Hangover Part 2 or Part 3. I remember coming out of The Hangover Part 2 thinking that was one of the most, again, like bleak movies I'd ever seen. And I was like, how was that played?
To be a comedy.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure one of them gets raped in it.
Oh, yeah, but these, rape jokes are funny, Claire. Come on.
They're like, oh, you were high as fuck and you don't remember being fucked by a Thai prostitute, but it's hilarious. And I was like, I'm not sure if these things are funny. So it doesn't.
In 2011, even that was like late to still be funny.
It doesn't actually, when I think about when I came out of Hangover 2, I was like, I feel deeply unpleasant after watching that.
Needed a shower.
Doesn't actually surprise me how unpleasant I felt watching Joker.
So in your mind, there wasn't that much of a pivot between Hangover Part 2 and Joker.
When I think back, no.
Well, there you have it. That's how, for all those people who can't work out how he made the jump, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's very interesting because I do see that point, and I think that's its own example in itself about how horrific that is that's played off for a joke, which is problems with our society as a whole. But I think, I don't know, I don't mind a bit of bleakness in the films that I watch, so I think that's just going to be a personal preference between the two of us as well.
That's it. I definitely, there's some bleak films that I love. But
just not bad ones.
Just not bad ones. I'm just checking. The first one was nominated for 1 Razzie. Oh. So I just want to see what it was.
It's the thing, it's not the same group of people that are voting, so...
what was it nominated for? Oh! It was nominated in the 2021s for Worst Reckless Disregard for Human Life and Public Property.
Wow. Is that when they used to have funny categories in that?
Yeah. And I would slightly agree with that. And I think that's why I don't like it. I think that's it. I feel like the first one, and somewhat with the second one, the disregard for human life and the bleakness, the nihilisticness for no purpose other than I can hurt you, so I will. I think I just don't want that in my life, and I like to think that there is purpose behind everything. And I think I obviously, like, looking at the world as the way the world is, there's a lot of men in power who just hurt people because they can, and I think I just don't want that in my movies.
Do you think that it's just the way it was handled, in that if this story was done in a different way?
Yeah, I've not rewatched the first one since I watched it in the cinema, and I remember going to it, and I remember being engaged but just being a bit uncomfortable and just coming out of it being like, good movie, never want to watch it again, didn't like it, upset me.
It just doesn't bother me in the same.
Yeah.
I
just didn't
so
sit
much
right
worse.
with me.
Yeah, I just watched so much worse that I wouldn't even put this close to that.
And I think that I think I have seen so much worse, but it just made me not feel nice.
That's fair.
But yeah.
So it's been nominated for screenplay as well. Obviously, we've spoken about the music, we've spoken a little bit about the acting and directing, but was there anything specifically?
The screenplay was just bloated. It was just so unnecessary. And I'm like, someone else could have edited this and given it any level of pace. I felt like there was no pace. Momentum, maybe not the right word, because I love a do-nothing film. I love a vibes film. But this had an absence of vibe. I think again, intentionally.
I split it in two, so I didn't notice it as much.
Whereas, sat in that screen, it was...
Yeah, I bet. And I bet because of the atmosphere as well.
Yeah. Like,
it was just all the air was like sucked out the room.
Absolutely. It just felt so bloated, so long, so unnecessary. And there are a lot of decent elements in there, but yeah, it was way too bloated, and I did think the screenplay was bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was amazing, but I didn't specifically note anything that, compared to some of our other contenders.
I'm just going to have a little quick looking look at my ranked list of the year to see. I know this was definitely in the lower half, but I'm like, how low did it go? How low did it go? Oh, in fairness, it was bottom 4 of the year for me.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
I never finished. I only put 9 films in my 2024 ranked.
See, I do it as the year goes on, so every time I see something, I try and put it in. But yeah, and I would say...
no, 3 of them aren't supposed to be in there, so it was only 6.
I would say where it sits, all of the other films around it, I gave it 2.5 in the end. And all of the other films that it's around, I would say the exact same thing about. I found them tedious, unnecessarily bleak and bland, and they just irritated me. And I felt like they were being pretentious, but weren't clever enough to be pretentious.
And I can see why people think that way, but I think because I liked the first one, it gave me enough mileage to still engage with this. But that being said, it also relied on the fact that I enjoy musicals and I like Lady Gaga. That was it was the perfect alignment for me to find I actually enjoyed this and thought it was good. But I am aware I am unique in that position.
I just found the first one, so I gave Folie a Deux 2.5. The first one I gave 2, and I wrote strong performances and clever direction, but the story didn't work for me, and I felt nothing but uncomfortable by the end.
That's fair enough. I think, and you don't have to keep this in, but just as a side note, I think a good example of something like that for me, we watched Blink twice last weekend, and I think that would be in one of those, in that I really enjoyed it, but that scene, I don't think I've ever been as affected by something that was showing specifically that. I've seen worse. I cried. I just sat there and cried. It really, really hit me. And I think that then dampened my enjoyment of the whole film. Doesn't mean I didn't think it was good, but I don't know how I'd feel about wanting to watch that again.
Well, and that's really interesting, because I saw that again at an early screening, and I remember really enjoying it. I didn't know much about it going in and thinking it was really, really clever and really interesting. And then a couple of days later, I went to a festival, and so it was sleeping in tents and being out in the wild. And I actually, as I was falling asleep, had a bit of a nightmare because of those scenes, and I suddenly felt really uncomfortable in my tent, and I almost regretted watching it. And like there was a lot of talk about trigger warnings with that film, because originally there weren't trigger warnings, and then they added some trigger warnings onto the start of it and to the trailers and stuff. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I don't think it was necessary." And I was like, "Look, I do." I was like, I don't have experience. Thank God, I've never been sexually assaulted. But I was like, I didn't have a problem watching it. But I was like, I've actually had a few flashbacks in the week post seeing it that have upset me, overthinking about the narrative and the visuals, which I think is a positive towards the film, because I think it was so expertly directed and done.
Yeah, for sure.
But so I was like, I can only imagine if you are a person that has a history of that, how much that must repeat on you. And I would want to know going into that.
I think I've never had a problem with trigger warnings, but I think that is one of the most necessary ones that I've ever experienced, because like I'm coming at it going, I could have taken or left that and I still would have felt the way that I felt, because I kind of expect things like that to happen in films now, which is, you know, is that a good thing or not? But if I had been a survivor of sexual assault, and like that would have just been too much. Which is verging on too much anyway. But like that's an example of something where I can say it just hit me in the gut way too much for me to want to revisit that, even though I thought it was good. So that's kind of the feeling I'm sort of trying to reimagine in terms of how you're sort of describing about the feeling of discomfort and just like not feeling nice to want to have to engage with something like that again. So,
I think that would be, that's probably not the worst comparison.
And do we just quickly want to talk about Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix together, because they are nominated for Worst Screen Combo?
I don't think they had amazing chemistry, but then I also really dislike Arthur Fleck as a character, and he makes me feel unwell to look at, which again I think is intentional. So okay, then I guess, and I think the things that some of the things I don't like about these films are intentional and therefore are a good, which is why for my review of the first one, I was like, it is well directed. I just hated all the directional choices. And I'd say that like Arthur Fleck physically makes me feel unwell to look at. Like his face, his mannerisms, the way his mouth moves, it makes me feel queasy. I think I've seen too many creepy men on buses travelling home late at night like him. I'm just like, I don't like to be reminded that these kind of men are out there. I don't think that they had amazing chemistry, but again, is that because just looking at him makes me feel physically
And is that, again, slightly intentional in that they're not in sound mind to be attracted to each other? They are in a shared delusion, / is she just using him from the very beginning anyway? So.
But I really liked her. I thought it was a really interesting twist on Harley Quinn. I don't know if it needed to be that, but I liked it. I loved everything that she did. I loved her singing. I felt like she was giving it her best with him, working with him. I don't think they were a good screen combo, but I don't think they were terrible. His singing was awful, but again, as we said, was that intentional?
It's so hard to judge this film because half of it's like, is it supposed to just make me uncomfortable / is Todd Phillips just having a laugh, or is he intending for this to be good? Was he intending for it to be bad?
Well, so that's, I've actually not listened to, but Quentin Tarantino gave like a really good review of this. He loved it because he was like, I love how much it hates the audience and it's actively like challenging you to hate the movie. And Quentin Tarantino is like a massive defender of this movie. He just was like, no one else gets it.
Unfortunately, I like Quentin Tarantino.
Me too.
Oh, okay.
He's a creepy foot man.
He's not without faults.
Yeah.
But in terms of as an artist, I'm very. So that's I feel like not that I'm going to say yes, I agree with Tarantino on this one, but I feel like maybe that's a sense of what I was feeling with these films versus, you know, we have our comfort zones and we have the spaces outside our comfort zones which challenge us, and then there's too far.
Yeah,
it's fair enough that these things they don't sit with you.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe for me, it's that sweet spot of like, it's enough nihilism to like challenge me.
I think it's a combo of nihilism and an absolute disliking discomfort for the main character. I think I could cope with one or the other, but not both.
I do think that is going to have a massive impact on whether you enjoy a film or not. Because if you have to sit with that character for so long and you can't, like, he makes me uncomfortable, but if it's every shot, then you're not going to want to watch this, are you?
He's the kind of man that if he was on the same bus as me, I would maybe try and get off and get a different bus. And if he was on the same train carriage as me, I would move to a different carriage. So yeah, I don't like being in this man's shared universe.
And it doesn't help that that's, like, totally what character is.
And so I think
whether it's his fault or not, mental illness or not, like, you know.
Yeah. And I also remember being a bit annoyed in the first one that I didn't feel it was the greatest depiction of mental health issues, but that's such fucking difficult to talk about and do because it's a nightmare. But yeah, it's an odd one. I mean, worst picture, I've put it in my bottom 4 of the year, so I can't say I don't feel... I'm not surprised it's here. It's the thing of, I didn't think it was bad as everyone said it was, but I also did not think it was good, and yeah, it's in my lowest ranking of the year, so I guess I'd probably have to agree with that. Worst director, I would absolutely say yes, because, sir, there's tonal shifts, and then there's just splattergun directing. Worst actor... I don't know how much is the character and how much is the actor. I wouldn't have given him the Oscar, but I also don't think I would give him a Razzie, so I'm indifferent on that one. Worst actress for Gaga, absolutely not. How dare they slander? She deserves better. Worst screenplay, abso-fucking-lutely. Good God. When will people start using editors again? The art of editing has been lost on all of us. Screen combo, I didn't really have an answer for you on that one. I don't really know what to do on that.
I think we gave enough of an answer.
And then worst remake, rip-off or sequel? I don't know. Because I didn't like the first one, so I don't care.
I think, though, given the whole... And I'm not trying to say, like, I think it's bigger than our own opinions on it at this point with something like this, in that I think regardless of whether we enjoyed 1, 2, both, neither, it's a general consensus that this just did not work as a sequel, and I think that's fair. I do think that's fair, especially when you've got rumours that you bloody like did it on purpose. Like, it's so fascinating, and I don't know if that's just people who are like kicking their toys out of the pram. But I think we will be talking about all the other ones that are in that category for various reasons, and I'm sure they've got wider context to why they are. All of them pretty much have like a wider industry context of why they are versus the film itself. But I would argue that in terms of the content of the film is more why it's been put in that category versus the other ones are more the fact that they're made.
What about yourself for the noms? Any you strongly disagree or agree with?
No, sorry, everyone's going to hate me again. I actually liked this because the problem is, people, is that I'm on like a 6 to 9 month delay on watching the films that you watch, because most of our friends go to press screenings. So the more that you say you hate something, the lower the bar is, and the more chance I'm going to enjoy it.
Have you seen Emilia Perez?
Not yet.
I am an Emilia Perez defender. I'm one of the few people. Still, the actress stuff
No, I know,
aside,
that's not what I was implying, though.
But I really liked it, and I love a musical, and I love Courtroom and all of that, so I'm interested. I would like you to please watch Emilia Perez and share your thoughts.
I do want to watch it. Yeah. I do want to watch it to see. But no, I went in with the bar on the floor because everybody hated it, but at the same time I was like, I think I'm probably going to like this because I like the first one and I like musicals, I like Lady Gaga. So whilst I just felt like it dropped in quality for me in terms of, I felt the first one was an incredibly tight, well, like, focused film in its own sort of like space, and it probably just needed to be left alone. And I think it worked very well for what I was trying to get out of it. This was an interesting follow-on to that character, and I liked where they were because obviously he couldn't really get anywhere else. He'd been arrested. So this is, for me, was a really interesting way of going, what next? What can we garner out of this story? I don't think it would have worked without Lady Gaga.
No.
And I do think the quality's really like dialed down for me, just in terms of how strong the screenplay was, and just like you say, the pacing and things like that. The music didn't really work for me. At times I was uncomfortable and I was a bit like, this is kind of dragging on. But I liked what it was going for. I liked that it was something different. And I kind of liked that it pissed people off, to be honest. Because people are entitled these days.
Yeah.
And I was really intrigued about the whole, as soon as someone tells me, I hate that film, it's the worst I've ever seen, I want to see it. That's just me, I'm afraid. So,
my worst film of the year was the Nicolas Cage film, The Surfer. So go watch that. And actually, you can't watch that because there's a really horrific scene with a rat. So you can't.
It's all right. I've seen Nosferatu, so I feel like I can take on the world now.
This scene is worse. There's only one rat, but it's just
a slight side tangent. You can take this out, but I was talking to my friends at work the other day, and they were like, "I can't believe you've seen Nosferatu. So many rats." And I was like, "But you start to get a little bit of a decline on the fear per rat, like the FPR, because once you've seen a bunch, once you've seen a bunch more aren't that much scarier. So I would argue like 1 is like fear really high. 10 is like, I'm going to throw up and I need to potentially put my legs on the chair as I'm talking about it. 100 is just like, I'm blacked out. Yeah. And this is real life, by the way. Yeah. 1,000, I'm like, I'm blacked out still. Like, what do you know? That's the best way I could describe it in terms of my reaction on screen. And also, I just shout out to, what's his name? The director of Nosferatu.
Oh, Robert Eggers?
That's it. He didn't use them as a fear device.
No. They were just there because
you know
they
what I mean by that?
Yeah.
They're there because they're characters, you know? Yeah. They were like I had to respect them because they were actors in the film. Whereas they weren't being used as shorthand for this place is gross, even though they were literally carrying the plague. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't hate this film. I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the first one, IMO. I think it's quite funny how everyone hated it so much. But yeah.